My name is Nimi Ajayi. I am the president of the Black Student Association here at Vanderbilt Owen. And this is the first installment of our Uncharted series, where we're hoping to continue to feature Black leaders in the community and just around, and hear about their journeys and their contribution to the culture, their contribution to the community as well. So I'll just give you gentlemen a few moments to introduce yourselves.
So I'm Mo, 1/3 of founder of Slim Huskies, Inca Art Gallery, and EG&MC, which is a new cocktail bar that we just opened on Jefferson Street. Native Nashvilleian, and I appreciate y'all for inviting us to come talk to y'all for a little while.
Thank you.
I'm Clint Gray. I'm a Chief Marketing Officer, co-founder of Slim Huskies, as well as the other brands that Mo just mentioned, and super excited to be here with you guys today as well.
Yeah, thank you. And for the format, we have some prepared questions for them. We're going to leave a few minutes towards the end to take some questions for the audience. To kick things off, I think a lot of us are kind of curious. Before you started Slim and Huskies, what were you guys doing prior to that?
So before we started Slim Huskies, I'll just take it back to TSU. So all three of us went to Tennessee State University. Okay. Came in at 03, graduated 07. Clint and I played football. EJ was just kicking it, you know what I'm saying? So we, roommates, went through a whole college track together. And then we continue to talk. We always talked about being entrepreneurs. Okay. But you got to get some money after you leave school. So, I was an air traffic controller. Clint was a salesman for Ajax Turner. EJ was working for Commons Filtration, financial analyst. I was ready to move back home and be done with being an air traffic controller, and called my boys up and was like, hey, I got an idea for a moving company. This was in 2010. I said, I got an idea for a moving company, eco-friendly moving company. It was like, what the hell is that? I was like, you're gonna make it happen, just trust me. And so we opened that company in 2010, just the three of us. We hired, family and friends to help with labor, with renting U-Hauls, and then we grew that company from just the three of us to eventually about 50 employees during peak season, 15,000 square foot warehouse space, 8-9 trucks on the road at a time, interstate, a lot of interstate moving. Had some corporate contracts, some government contracts. I got 8A certified. We still have that company. We're still SBA 8A certified with GT Services. And we sold that company in January 2017. So that's the, condensed version of what we were doing before we started Slim Huskies.
Yeah, I bet there was a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration for Slim and Huskies? And I've always been curious about the name. Where did that come from?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the inspiration of Slim Huskies really is just our story. Thing about, if you see our logo, it's 3 dudes walking in line, basically in the direction of something, holding up pizza. And when we had the moving company, we were always like a community-based brand. We did a lot of things for the community. So when we decided to sell it, we didn't want to lose those values in the next project. We wanted to transition all the good things about our business into what we were doing next. So we were like, we didn't start a moving company because that's what we wanted to do. We started it because we were 3 young, broke dudes working entry-level jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was our way to get into entrepreneurship. We had bodies between the 3 of us that could move. We could rent trucks. It was a low-cost startup business. But as we started to become more successful, we were like, you know what? We're three social dudes. We love hospitality. At the time, Nashville was booming. Hot chicken was like taking off everywhere. And like, we were from here and we're seeing the success of hospitality and tourism in town. So we were like, man, we got to take a stab at something like that because that's really who we are. We're three social, you know, extroverted. Well, two of us are extroverted. The third one's not here. He's out of here. but no, so, you know, we wanted to do something that we always wanted to do, and that was open up our own spot. And so the build your own pizza concept started to kind of take off around the country. And as we were going around and moving people around the country, pizza was cheap. We could go and like eat pizza, drive and eat pizza, you know. It was a thing that we felt like we were somewhat experts in, was who has good pizza. And so we also started breaking down that build your own pizza concept, and it was like, man, this stuff is okay, but it's really not like great pizza though, right? It's like, I feel like we could do it better. And what would be cool is to open up a build your own pizza shop with the things that we love, hip hop, R&B, art, culture, and to do it somewhere that nobody would ever think it would work. And that was in 37208 North Nashville community, an area that has been pretty much ignored by the city from a resources standpoint, and also victim to what happens when a community has a lack of resources. So drugs, crime, et cetera, et cetera. And we took that as an opportunity to basically make the community better. And so we put our first concept not where, you know, was the most popular area, but we put it in the area that needed it the most.
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like an awesome journey, and I think you kind of started to answer my next question, which was going to be, why and how have you kind of intertwined Black culture into the restaurants, to the pizza shops? I think you've kind of answered the why, and maybe would like to hear a little bit more about the how.
Well, definitely the music. Well, shit, we'll start with the owners, and then the music. Like Clint said, it was something that we just enjoyed. We grew up on, like the 90s is an era of like music that's like, and I think it's classic, right? So 90s R&B, 90s hip hop. It was like, for hip hop, you're starting to like, you know, hip hop starting in the 80s, and you're starting to see like folks really starting to like make money off of it and reach international recognition off of hip hop in the 90s. So that's what we grew up on. And so that's always been a part of us. And also Southern hip hop too, which doesn't get as much credit as it should. Up until now, you know, Atlanta's doing this thing, but we grew up on Southern hip hop, real heavy. So yeah, man. So we want to make sure we have that in a spot that we enjoy. It's like you take the example of Do the Right Thing, right? So I don't know if anybody ever seen it, but you got Sal's, right? And Sal's is this Italian pizza restaurant in this all Black community, Fort Greene, in Brooklyn, and you know, you got some angry folks going in there saying, hey, why you don't got no brothers on the wall? You know what I'm saying? Why you don't got Malcolm at least, or Martin at least on the walls? And then this whole fight breaks out, and Sal's is gone, community is disarray, and Radio Raheem is dead, you know, because of it, on a murder by the police. So man, you know, all that, we thought about all of that in that scene. It's like, man, this is ours. This neighborhood is ours. This restaurant is ours. So we got to make it ours. It has got to feel like ours when people walk in. And when I say ours, I mean it's Black and unapologetically. And that's important to us. That's important for us to be able to show the Black folks in this room, Black kids that grew up in that neighborhood, that you can be a part of this culture much more than just music or fashion or dribbling the ball. You know what I mean? A lot of us didn't grow up with examples of black entrepreneurs. We had doctors and lawyers in our community. We had teachers and professors in our community, but not a lot of entrepreneurs. And we weren't able to go into places that had representation of black folks in those restaurants.
Right.
We grew up around meeting threes and Mary's barbecue and stuff like that, but Mary's barbecue got used to have a picture of President Nixon on the wall shaking hands. Like, all right, you know what I'm saying? So it was important for us to be able to showcase the black culture, which was the 90s hip hop and R&B, or 2000s and up, and then also the artwork, man. So we pulled artists, and still do pull artists from every city that we go to, black artists to come in and just make the walls beautiful. And that's intentional. And plus the representation of the logo. Three black dudes with peace in their hands. Like, these kids that come into the restaurant, like, they love it. They want a cup. They treat it like a souvenir. And that's important to us. And that means a lot to us. And I hope, what we do means a lot to the community. So yeah.
No, it definitely does. And congratulations on your success so far. We definitely love to see it.
Appreciate it.
You mentioned Southern hip hop. Just curious, what are some of your favorite artists right now?
Right now?
Or from the 90s,
Nah. I like a lot of dudes now, actually. Man, if I would say the artists like now that's doing their thing is, you got some people that's not like on the radar heavy, but Big Crit from Mississippi. And then you got, Lil Baby. I think he's gonna be like the next Jay-Z, honestly, like for real. Like, he is like taking off like crazy. Young Thug, man, you gotta respect NBA YoungBoy. You gotta respect. I mean, he's a wild dude, but you gotta respect him. So then, the old school dudes, like stuff we grew up on,
right.
P, Ball and G. You know what I'm saying? Player Fly. Take some dudes from the Ville, Starlito. You know what I mean? So that's us. You know what I mean? Clint, you can chime in.
Nah, I mean, just us as business owners, and I would definitely say this to anybody else that's starting their own business that is doing it out of passion and love. It's like, just be true to yourself, because like our success and ability to connect with the culture has everything to do with, us just being who we are. Mo mentioned Master P. We had, opportunity to have lunch with Master P in our art gallery, a couple of months ago. Never would have got that opportunity if we were out here, playing top 40 and things that, I wouldn't listen to if I was bumping them in my ride, you know what I mean? And being loud and proud about it. But from an artist standpoint, one of the things that you'll start to see us evolve into is also not just, people that are mainstream, but, focusing on more of the people that are up and coming like we are and have a similar story, but, are doing it within the, within music. So Slim Huskies is not just a pizza company, right? Slim Huskies is also, it's like I said, it's a story, it's our lifestyle. So we just recently launched something new to our brand called Slim Huskies Unplugged, which is basically a local music series that we're doing in collaboration with the National Museum of African American Music. And the next one's March 4th. If anybody's free on March 4th, make sure you pull up. But it's basically giving local Nashville black artists a platform to perform on Broadway, that's most notably known for country music. And, highlighting them and giving them the ability to be proud of who they are and express their talent, and arguably the Southern's, top stage when it comes to music. And so focusing on that independent, art form helps us stay true to who we are, because, like I said, they're no different than we are. They're just musicians versus, hospitality professionals. So, I'm looking forward to getting to know some of the new artists that are coming up through the Slim Huskies brand and opportunities that we present the same way that we fell in love with people like P, Outkast, T.I.,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And just I think you're even kind of writing this talk because my next question was going to be you're doing a lot to pull young artists that have kind of experienced what you experienced at the beginning of your journey. What are some challenges that you faced from creating a company and making it so prominently black, or making black culture front and center of how you do business?
Well, I'll say this. At first, when we first opened up our doors, our logo wasn't the three guys. Our logo was a tractor and wheat and and here's the thing, right? It was a couple of meanings behind that. The first meaning was, all right, we're putting local produce on our pizzas and getting everything fresh. And then the second thing was, we were black in Nashville, opened up a restaurant in North Nashville, and we didn't want people to be scared to pull up on us. You know what I mean? So we had to try to conform to what we thought Nashville needed at the time, what would get Nashville in.
Mm-hmm.
And so really we created a juxtaposition to where you see that logo, right? You see it plastered on social media, like, oh, I'll try that spot. And then when you walk in the doors with your kids after 6 o'clock, you hear make them say, na, 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 like blasting all over the radio, right? And so, the more and more we got into business, we were like, man, people are just gonna rock with us if we just stay true, And if they don't rock with us, who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna always be somebody else that likes our pizza that's gonna come and support. And so, one of the challenges was just really kind of, not standing behind a logo, but like really, being who it is we wanted to be. I think, in my opinion, and being unapologetic about what our mission was and how we were gonna do business. In my opinion.
And then on the flip side of that, funding is always a challenge. I don't care, what business you're in, it's always a challenge. Of course, that's just part of being an entrepreneur, part of being a business owner. It's just funding. You always going to be. You're gonna have your ebbs and flows. You're gonna be like, dang, we riding the highs, and it's like, but growth is expensive.
Right.
Expansion is expensive. And so, yeah, I mean, but we've done a great job with growth. We've done a great job with pulling in strategic partners. We're about to reach a round of doing a capital raise right now. Okay. So we're about to start that up. But it's also the challenge is just knowing that those things exist. If you're not familiar, if you don't come from a place where you're familiar, these words are being thrown around. Very simple things like private equity, venture capitalists, to y'all, it's like, yo, this is just normal day-to-day. We talk about raising capital, but when you're not from that world and you don't understand that, then it's like it's foreign, and that's the true challenge that we've probably had. Was like, man, a lot of struggles that we had since 2010 was just from just not being familiar with just business tactics. You know what I mean? And we had to really, really bump our head and learn some hard lessons because we weren't privy to that information, because that's not something that we were in our community was familiar with. Our community is built on bootstrapping, right? So we take our own money because, you have a distrust for banks, have a distrust for the federal government, you know what I mean? And just people lending a hand, right? And you just say, you know what, I'm just gonna take this money, I'm gonna continue to just grow this money. It's like a shoebox. Make a little something, put it in the shoebox, put the rest to the business, right? And that's what we did for years. We bootstrapped the business. And that was just because of just inexperience and not having the knowledge to know that, man, hey, we can go out there. There's somebody that, you know, if all my financials are right, get my valuation right, somebody can either invest in my company or buy my company. You know what I mean? And we would, like, yeah, I mean, to a lot of people in the community, we are groundbreaking. But this is a normal day-to-day thing that business do all the time. So, yeah.
That definitely makes sense. I know that there's a lot of struggle in the Black community with financial literacy.
Yeah.
Given all that you've learned, are there any ways currently that you're maybe trying to pass that knowledge across to
Absolutely.
members of your community?
Yeah, doing stuff like this all the time. I mean, you know, y'all understand time is money, right? So, but you know, we do this stuff for free. We take time out of our days to do just this. I mean, you know, somebody hit me on my DMs on Instagram every day, you know, asking for a little advice. I can't get to everybody, but to those that I feel like is pretty serious, yeah, I'll lend some advice. I'll take a phone call. I'll take a Zoom call. I'll go meet them at a location and talk about, you know, I'm over, you know, all our real estate acquisitions and design and all that, so, and construction. So I'll meet somebody at a site just to help them out. And they say, well, hey, how'd y'all raise this money? How'd y'all do this? Like, we do this for free because we understand it. I mean, you know, who are we to put a price on this, right? You know what I mean? When I know that it's folks in the community that couldn't afford you know, some type of forum or, you know, where they giving this information out. So, and this, a lot of people in other communities get this for free just because it's around them. You know what I mean? So, man, that's part of what we do.
Yeah, and thank you very much for you guys coming through, spending time with us. We definitely know that you guys are very, very busy individuals. So let's talk Broadway. How did that come about, and what were some events that maybe led up to you opening up the spot on Broadway?
Well, Broadway was one of them places that if you're from here, that you've seen it transition, you know, from, you know, growing up to before the 2010 floods. They basically, you know, changed the way the city, you know, grew, and even up until now with, you know, just more and more development going on, more concepts, and it didn't even really hit me or us until the Broadway opportunity came about, that there was no Black-owned restaurants or bars up and down Broadway, a place that we had walked and partied, you know, for 30 plus years, you know, and it was like one of those things where it's like, if there's an opportunity for new development that's going to lead the new direction of downtowns, like, we've got to be a part of it. So we became privy of the project just through doing research. You know, like anybody who's, wherever you're going, wherever you plan on moving or being, you know, post-graduation or currently, like, one thing we always did was just read the news, like the business journal, and like know like what's coming to town, what new developments are going where, and where we could, you know, take advantage of those opportunities. And so, you know, we got privy to it, we got on the hunt and made it be known that we want to be a part of this project. And it was just great timing. And not only do we want to be a part of the project, but we want to make the community a part of the project. So early on with Broadway, the event that I told you about that we're doing with the museum, we started that within our actual space. So we started bringing those local artists and inviting the community to come down to Broadway, hang out at our restaurant, and listen to live Black music, because you weren't going to hear it anywhere up and down the Strip. So we might as well go ahead and try to pioneer that, you know, to make Broadway more inclusive.
No. And what's the response been like so far?
The response has been great. You know, the pandemic slowed down a lot of tourism, you know, down there, which is a huge part of the, you know, of being down there. But you know, since we're kind of coming down, hopefully on the back end of COVID, and you know, the Preds are back, concerts are back. This past weekend we had one of our best weekends down there because the Preds were down there, the New Edition, Jodeci, and you know, and Charlie Wilson concert was going on, and you know, it's a successful store for us.
Awesome.
But it's also a successful store for the community, and like what Mo was saying, it's important for, you know, young African American boys and girls to be able to go to their downtown area and be able to see representation, so that they know that it's possible. And you know, we were growing up, we didn't have that, so we're super committed to making sure that, you know, that changes as we become more successful.
Awesome. Congratulations. I've been to the downtown store once myself, and it was a pretty good experience. Talking about success story for the Black community, how does it feel to be the first Black-owned restaurant on Broadway?
You know, it's cool. You know, a little bit disheartening, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, man, you know, we're only 37 years old, all three of us. It's like, you know, it's 20, when we opened the restaurant, 2021, and it took that long, you know what I mean? So, you know, that was like the disheartening part of it, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't do stuff to be the first, you know what I mean? We do what we do because when we're entrepreneurs at heart, you know what I'm saying? We want to make a profit, and we want to make a difference at the same time, but not like we don't go out and set out, you know, say, hey, we're gonna be the first this, you know what I mean? This is so, you know, but then like Clint said, like we didn't realize it until we got like deep off into it. Like, I mean, we were probably, you know, 75% done. Just looking around like, man, you know, we talked to a historian, and it was like, yeah, y'all will be the first. I'm like, dang, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was cool. Like I say it was cool. Like it's commendable for us to have that, like that stamp. You know what I mean? But it still is like, but it shouldn't be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot of firsts. It's a lot of firsts in the African American community that just, you know, it shouldn't be the first. Like, we've been in this country since 1619. You feel me?
Right.
So that's a long time to be somewhere and still experiencing some first.
Right.
So yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's cool. We don't hang our hat on anything.
Right,
We just want to honestly be the best restaurant on Broadway and anywhere we go. We just want to be the best at it. So yeah.
And the pizza's pretty good too.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So since that's just cool, what are you most proud of?
Man, I'm just proud of just being a kid from East Nashville. You know, just making it this far, honestly. Just being able to put on for the community and be recognized. Not for acceptance, not because I feel like I need to be accepted by these food critics or by all these different communities and these business folks. Not because I'm looking for that, but I mean, it is something like, you know, I don't care who you are. You want to win a Grammy, you know what I'm saying? You want to win an Oscar, right? So for us to be recognized as being a top restaurant in a hospitality city, like that's awesome. And then being able to take something that we created in a garage, just the three of us and our chef, and take that and put that in Atlanta, which is the tough city to make it as a restaurant, or Memphis, or way out to California. Like, you know, it's like, that's what I'm most proud of. It's just the work that we put in, we're seeing people enjoy it just as much as we enjoy it. And then in different cities, people enjoying it and embracing it just as much as the folks in Nashville. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm most proud of our evolution. I'm most proud that it doesn't stop, that, you know, when somebody hits us up on social media or just see us in public and they're like, man, I'm super proud of you guys, man. Congratulations on that new location or this new location. I'm like, man, I really appreciate it and I take it to heart, but I'm also proud that, man, they have no idea what we're working on. You know, the fact that, you know, yeah, we just bought a piece of property and are opening up we're shutting down an old Burger King and we're opening up a new Slim Huskies. on that same lot in Birmingham. But then at the same time, we're also in the kitchen developing our retail product and getting ready to enter the grocery stores around the country and working on some TV deals. And, you know, it's nonstop. And, you know, I tell people, like, we just 3 dudes with $1,000 a piece that was just trying to get into business. And so I'm just proud that, you know, we don't see any barriers that are too big for us to, you know, to get past. And, you know, there's, you know, J. Cole said this thing one time. He said, he was like, successful people really have no way to measure their success. They never see, you know, they never get to a point they're like, oh, I'm successful. Because once you get to that point, then it's like it's something else ahead. You got to continue to keep going. And so that's how we truly feel. Is, you know, at 37 to be in business for this. We just passed our 5th year anniversary. I'm sorry, our 5th year anniversary is coming up, and we've got for Slim Huskies,
Yeah.
and we've got, you know, we're approaching our 10th store, and, you know, in multiple states, and we're not satisfied,
Right.
and that's what I'm proud of.
That's
You know, for what's to come.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You actually answered my next question. My next question was going to be what's next, and you talked about a TV deal, some retail opportunities down the line. So, you know, we wish you the best of luck in all of that. So, as you kind of think back, what are maybe 1 or 2 things that you think you would have done differently if you could talk to your 21-year-old self or yourself right before starting Slim and Huskies?
Nothing. Yeah, I mean, because it's all like part of the story. You know, it's all, it's all learning, man. It's all a learning lesson, man. Whether there's, you know, I could say like some cliche stuff like, yeah, when I was starting a movie company, I was 25, 26 years old. I probably should have, you know, took it in a little bit earlier and not hung out with these dudes all night, knowing we had to move in the morning. We were up in Brooklyn on the move, and then right after we got drunk or something, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I could say all those things, you know, I maybe not spent this money here or there, but it's like, all of it is like part of the story. All of it I learned from, so I don't have like any regrets on, because we've hit a lot of like stumbling blocks along the way. But some of those stumbling blocks, I'm glad we hit, and some of the resources, like I talk about these resources and like having the bootstrap, like I'm glad we experienced these things, and it wasn't handed to us, and we experienced these pitfalls, because the bigger we get, like the bigger the problems, and we have been able to build this resilience. Right. To all the forces that you know that come at you, and so I don't have any regrets at all. No. You know, and we kick it at the same time. Like it's three best friends. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better situation. You know, to be in business with my brothers. Like, you know, we fight, we argue, we have fun at the same time, and we enjoy each other's families still. You know, it's all there. You know what I mean? So I don't have any regrets at all. Yeah.
I'm good too. Oh, you know what? I wish we would have recorded the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say that.
Yeah.
We got my guy Mike in here now. We just brought on our first like full-time person to kind of follow us on a day-to-day and really capture when we do things. But man, I wish that I could, you know, show you guys how we got started. I wish I could show you guys the garage at 1508 Buchanan Street that had no heat, had no hot water, and all it had was had a refrigerator we bought from an old Quiznos franchisor, our pizza oven, dough machine, a hose from the bathroom sink to run water, you know, into a bucket that we put in a microwave to heat it to the right temp to get, you know, the water to be able to mix with the dough or create the dough properly, and like taking the pizza and feeding, you know, homeless people outside that didn't have anything to eat, and they eventually became somewhat our testers on our product to see if it was good, and how we created this product out of nothing, which our corporate company is called Something Out of Nothing. I'm sorry, it's called Soon, which stands for Something Out of Nothing. And we take these pizzas to the neighborhood community meetings where they were just battling it out because it was a area that was going through crazy gentrification at the time, and the two groups of people in the room just could not find a healthy medium. And I wish I could show you how our pizza went into these rooms and changed the attitude of the meeting, and people started being able to eat our food and have communication with each other that was beneficial to the neighborhood, and eventually has been one of the catalysts of turning North Nashville into what it's becoming now. I wish I could show you guys that, and but we didn't have that foresight.
We've been watching Kanye, y'all. We've been watching the documentary. He head on for us.
That's amazing. So we are in a business school. So I guess my next question is, I think we might have a few budding entrepreneurs in the building. Any advice that you might have to any entrepreneurs that are looking to start their own office?
Research the industry that you're looking to go into. Read about it. Get your hands dirty, but don't let fear keep you from going out there and doing whatever it is that you have in mind, like whatever business. It's a healthy fear, right? That you have to have as an entrepreneur, but it shouldn't consume you to the point where you don't take that step, or all the doubters, family, friends. My granddad thought I was crazy. I was 25 years old. I was making 80-something grand, just single dude, air traffic control, it was all the things that come along with that. And I was like, man, well, this is not what I want to do. You know what I mean? And this was 2008, 2009. So that was decent bread back then. Still, you know what I mean? But that was decent bread, you know what I mean? But he thought I was crazy. He was like, oh my, what are you doing? You want to come back home and run a moving company? You know what I mean? So, you're gonna have that, and everybody's not gonna see your dreams. And my mom used to tell me, because we used to park the truck in front of her house, and I had moved back in, and the first office was in my bedroom, she was like, I was like, man, you think this is a good idea? She was like, look, if everybody feel like it's a good idea, then it's probably not a good idea. So the fact that you got a lot of people doubting you, I think you're on the right track. So that's what I would, tell any entrepreneur. You know what I mean? I can tell you the banking and all that type of stuff, but all of that stuff will be figured out, I promise you, if it's something that you really want to do.
Yeah. No, thank you. Kind of a different.
And don't let that dude be.
Last question for me before we throw it to the audience for a little bit. Just fine-tuning that question a little bit. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs who are entering either an industry, geographical area, where whatever their identity is underrepresented?
I would say be loud.
Yeah. Use it to your advantage.
Yeah, use it to your advantage. Be as loud as possible. One example I could give is somebody a company that is kind of on the same track as us and doing some really, really wonderful things that I follow and I keep up with. Had an opportunity to meet them before. Is Slutty Vegan. I know some of you guys are familiar with Slutty Vegan out of Atlanta, and Pinky Cole created a company selling vegan hamburgers in a time where, You know, people probably thought she was crazy. To just open up a restaurant and all you do is sell vegan hamburgers. But then she stamped it with this name that's like, oh my God, you can't say slutty as part of your name, but she did it anyway, right? She was loud about it, and I feel like you match good product with a great marketing plan, whatever that may be, and you can get past what it is. Like I told you guys, 3 black guys in a majority white city that basically took the hospitality industry by storm. And we did it because we were loud as hell about everything we were doing. Our marketing plan was super aggressive. Our first business, the Green Truck Moving Company, we made these signs, and our slogan was, "Why not move green?" And you could take that a lot of different ways, right? But that was that was the idea, right? We were like, man, what do you mean? Why? And we had these big shirts that said, "Why not move green?" And we'd be walking around the city, and folks was like, yeah, man, high-fiving us because they think we're talking about selling dope. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, no, we got this eco-friendly movement service that, that's something new to the city, and we got to create some type of shock value to get people to come in and want to support us. And so we created these signs. We parked our truck on Hillsborough Road in front of Hillsborough High School, and me, JMO, literally stood there for hours and hours just holding up these "Why Not Move Green" picket signs. And the calls started coming in, and then we went to West End and Broadway, did the same thing. And we knew that, we had our family and friends that would support us, but the money was in the masses. So it's like, how do we get that without the resources? You just gotta be loud.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. We're gonna open it up to the floor now. If anybody has any questions, Brandon over there.
One thing that comes to mind is you guys talk about the language, the lingo, understanding that. As black people, it's not clean here, but we can do a lot of the things that non-melanated people can do a lot better. We just, like you said, gotta understand how it works. So, what would the one pitfall, give an example, like, all right, cool, I learned my lesson here, I took this L, but now I can learn, I can pivot from there and do this a lot better.
I got so many, dude. I don't know. I think definitely you want to have, when you get to a certain level, really in the beginning, you want to have competent attorneys, read over your deals and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You want to understand your pricing and all this. So, but again, that was just something that, I didn't have I had one attorney in the family, and I probably have seen this dude twice in my life. You feel what I'm saying? So, I just didn't have that type of advice. You know what I mean? Clint's dad was an entrepreneur, but he was just, just like everybody else, he just making it happen. You know what I'm saying? Just on a whim, right? So I think that that's an example of just one of the pitfalls is just, wishing that we not wishing, but just, have some competent attorneys that don't mind explaining to you what this means. Have a banker that you trust that doesn't mind explaining to you what some of these financial terms mean. You know what I mean? I had no clue again, simple things, right? What a P&L statement was, right? No clue. No clue how to even read it. You know what I mean? Or you put them in series, and I had no clue about that type of stuff. And these tax laws and all this type of stuff, no clue. And to be honest, still learning a whole lot of it, right? Because just being behind the 8-ball, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't really call it a pitfall, but I mean, that's just part of it, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you.
First one's quick. When do y'all play live music at the Broadway location?
March 4th is the next Slim Huskies Unplugged from 6 to 8. You can tour the museum with the ticket. You can tour the museum, and then if you purchase a ticket to Unplugged, you can tour the museum between 6 and 8. But then the show is from 8 until 10:30.
And then, like you mentioned, Slutty Vegan. I think first place I saw them was in like we had a AJC newsletter in Atlanta called Unapologetically ATL. Is there any like newsletters or spotlights in Nashville that are like either on your radar or that you've maybe been featured in that you think are good for highlighting Black businesses?
Yeah, I think from a newsletter standpoint, there's some people on social media that's starting to. I see more and more people like highlight different things to do for being African American in the city. Each week. One of them things is called RSVP. Something I don't know the exact name, but if you Google RSVP Nashville, it's something to come up. In your search box.
Essence just did one.
So a larger media are starting to kind of pay attention to, African American brands and things to do when you come to Nashville, because you're starting to get as the bridal party industry starts to grow. It's not just Caucasian women that are wanting to come, because it's you Google bachelorette parties, and Nashville is like number one. So it's like everybody's trying to come, and then now you got people that don't know what to do when they get to town, because a lot of things don't appeal to them. So you get a lot of your larger media outlets starting to say, hey, if you're Black going to Nashville, this is what you can do, right? But I don't think there's companies like Love Noise, who's been holding down like Black culture in Nashville for years when it comes to music. You've got the Vanguard. The Vanguard does focus on Black art shows. They just had one recently this weekend. That was super, super cool. 2 L's on a Cloud is another up and coming a media outlet that focuses on music and art. And but it's just more so like the different companies that are focusing through social media, not necessarily like newsletters that go out. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Now, we use our own platform to push it out, but it's not just pieces that we're pushing. We're pushing events and also collabing with people, to bring them along the ride with us. So it's not like, oh, Slim Huskies is trying to take over Black, everything in Nashville. Like, no, like we realize that we have, pretty much the largest platform, but we're trying to bring others with us so that, we can change the narrative.
Awesome. We got time for one more question, because they got a class. Okay.
Hey, for sure. First, I just want to thank y'all for coming. This has been dope. Obviously, y'all have been really successful with the peace movement, with Broadway, and the tight stage and all that. I'm curious what kind of transitioned or inspired y'all to move into like EGMC and kind of non-pizza type of things.
Well, we wanted to do a spot like EG and Mac, like probably about the same time we started Slim Husky. So, and it was just like seeing, us being able to travel with the moving company and go to these different cities, especially like DC or in Brooklyn. We were there a lot, and man, it was no shortage of representation and no shortage of just fun. You know what I mean? For us to to be a part of, and Nashville, is heavy on the country music, and that's not for everybody. I don't even care if you Black, white, whatever. Like, it's a lot of folks in Nashville that just don't that just don't care about country music like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. Like, that's the industry. This is why Nashville is booming like it is. So we take advantage of that, but we also understand that it's a niche that a market that we can have for those people that don't care about that. So EG and MC was just part of that. It's like, man, we want to do a cocktail bar, no hookah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a niche for people that don't care about hookah, you know what I mean? And don't want to stand on couches and don't, and we play indie music, you know what I'm saying? So, and then the Inca Gallery was just part of Slim Husky. Like, we love art. We love visual arts, you know what I'm saying? So we've had all type of mediums come through there, collages, painting, sculpture, everything, man. And honestly, it's just something that we love, but we understand that you know, that brings creativity to a neighborhood and to a group of people. And it's a lot of people in Nashville that just enjoy that. But we put our spin on it though, like Vanguard, you know, put our spin on it with the music and the food and everything. And, I mean, we have all walks of life that just enjoy it. So yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you very much for, you know, spending time with us today. We really
thank
appreciate
y'all.
you. We definitely love to see more entrepreneurs like you come speak to us at Vanderbilt. So we really appreciate
Cool.
y'all taking the time to stop by. Yeah, I think we're kind of at the end of the show because we got cameras. So
Appreciate y'all.
round of applause.